When we say everything is made of these five elements, what makes the difference between the animate and the inanimate? So it is the life that which infuses into this five elements that makes the fundamental difference whether it is animate or inanimate, right? So in order to make this animate, whatever we call as, right from the microbes to the all the mammals or to the plant kingdom or to the human beings, so that has become a life. When these five elements is called, put together in a combination and infused with life, we call it as a life. So what facilitates this life? What facilitates this life or the creation to continue here, the life force to sustain here on this planet? What supports this? So that's what we are going to look at. There are these five elements, and in which, in what is the closest form of these five elements that is supporting this life process on this planet? This is the fundamental thing, right? Without life, nothing is here, and you and me are not going to talk about it. These five physical matters exist in different levels of vibrance in this existence. So very dormant to the very vibrant. For example, a plant is a vibrant. You look at a blade of grass, it is very vibrant with life. But whereas a stone it's not so vibrant, but still it has some vibrations. Let's take the example of this whole planet as Earth. The most liveliest part of the Earth, where is it? So it is the surface of the Earth. Just few meters beneath the surface of the Earth and like maybe few meters above the Earth. This is the most liveliest part of the Earth. This is where the life process happens in the large scale. It is the major life process that is happening is in this band with a few meters above the ground, few meters below the ground. And even if you see the elemental wise, the soil here is the most richest soil. Why we say the richest soil? It has the more organic content or the more life-making material. It is the life and everything is throbbing out of this plant only from this range of Earth, the few meters below the Earth. So only a small part, if you consider the whole biosphere of Earth, including the planet Earth's crust and the atmosphere above, ranging for several kilometers up, the entire biosphere, if you consider, the real biosphere or the life sustainable thing is very, very small. This few meters below the ground, few meters above the ground is the space, is the area where we have this phenomenon called life is happening in a tremendous way. And these five elements in its liveliest form or in the most vibrant form, which is infused with life, supports the evolution of other life on this planet, from the microbes to the plants to the reptiles to the so like this, a most complex amalgamation of life process is happening by keeping these five elements in the most vibrant and liveliest form. Let's take, for example, the soil. If it is barren, there is less life. If it is rich and organic, then it becomes more life. Then this supports other kinds of life, microbes and plants, and which in turn supports other life, and which in turn supports human beings, and that's how the whole complex life process is happening. So in order to sustain this phenomenon called life here on this planet, it is very, very important that these five elements are kept as alive as possible and as much as possible, because it is already a very small part on this planet. Okay, only few meters below the ground, few meters above the ground, and any kind of disturbance that we do to this vibrance or lowering its presence, that means that we are directly impacting the phenomenon called life on this planet. So these five elements in its liveliest state is the fundamental building blocks of life on this planet or sustaining life on this planet. So if we keep on reducing the vegetation, forest, and converting all of them as much as possible into roads, buildings, and so mining and so many other activities, that means what? We are converting them from animate to inanimate. It is the soil, just few meters, not even few meters. It is the 18 inches of the soil, top soil, the first 40 centimeters of the soil below the earth surface is the most liveliest part of the element of earth. And when it comes to water, it is the rain and the fresh waters is the most liveliest part of the water element. And when it comes to air, of course, it is the air that is available in the initial few meters or the few hundred meters of atmosphere is the most liveliest part of the element of air that we have. The sun, it's spreading across its rays all across the universe, but the sun's rays that is reaching to the ground at this level is the optimal level for us to sustain life. It's our duty to become so mindful about this, that how much disturbance that we are causing in causing to part of this part of the planet which sustains life, what kind of disturbances that we create? It is only the human beings who create the disturbances. Every other life here is in a rhythm, falling back at its own place with life and death, with eating, reproducing, or whatever they do. They are in a complete rhythm. Now that we spoil these 5 elements, in the sense making them more dormant, like from its liveliest form, an organic soil, if it becomes barren, and then if it is a forest or a grassland, organic land, if you are just converting them into a concrete road or buildings or mines or so many things, that means you are taking them back in the evolution process. Do you know how much time it would have taken for it to become the more vibrant part that it can contribute to the sustaining life on this planet, for it to become a building block of life on this planet? But in a fraction of a second, we are like converting them back in the evolution process. We are taking them back into the more dormant part. So that is the biggest problem right now. Either by air pollution or water pollution or the soil degradation, soil pollution, or the artificial or with the artificial light, what we are doing is bringing these fundamental blocks of 5 elements into their more dormant and less evolved state. We are taking these 5 elements back in the evolution process and making it more dormant, more and more dormant, and from being more alive to making it more and more dormant, less and less life. That means its ability to get infused with life, we are intervening there and then like making it more difficult. So that means we are working against our own fundamental blocks: the soil pollution, the water pollution, and the air pollution, and the artificial lights. And if we pollute all of them, if you degrade all of them, and that is what is going to sustain life, how can we expect there can be a better life on this planet? So what we are doing right now in the name of artificial living, or the modern way of living, which many have not realized it is an artificial way of living, consistently reducing the vibrant part of these 5 elements which can support life and act as the building blocks of life. Also, with the globalization, what we are trying to do, not only we are like making these life more and more, not only we are making these 5 elements more and more dormant, like unsupportable for life, or infusing life with them. Not only we are doing that, but also we are like reducing the varieties of life on this planet. That means the varieties of blocks, the building blocks that we are made of. Like if we were, for example, to give you an example of how these Lego games are going. So if you have as many varieties of as many fine nature of the Lego you have, as many varieties you have, you can come up with so complex structure, right? So minute aspects you can bring about. But if you are like reducing them into big chunks of blocks, what you can get is, right? It's not a piece of art that you can get. It's only like an abstract. So human beings can eventually become like that. If we start reducing the number of species on this planet and the varieties of the planet, and in terms of plant life, animal life, microbial life, and everything, if we start reducing everything with the monoculture and which is very much the impact of the globalization, everything we want to make it uniform, okay? Even every aspect of life, we want to make it uniform and reduce them into small blocks of limited, whereas in the past it looks like innumerable varieties of things in any aspect of life, whether it is animate or inanimate. You take from the innumerable varieties, it becomes like the very mundane, simple few varieties. From the microbial life to the plant life, to the animal life, to the birds, to the worms, insects, and mammals and human beings, it is all a continuous connection. It is all a continuous connection. Is that it is a life process that is happening as a one complete orchestra here. Whatever impact we are going to do on the microbes, it's going to travel all the way. If you cause a dent in the microbial life, that is going to cause a dent in the plant kingdom, and in turns the animal kingdom, and in terms of the human being also. If we are causing tremendous impact in the chain of life here, and we think that we can exist much more modern, wonderful, with so much comforts and conveniences. No, it is not possible. It's build a great building, nice and everything, all facilities and everything, but you are shaking the foundation of it. Is it possible? That is what we are exactly doing with artificial living and the modern living these days. So we have built very nice, wonderful skyscrapers, and we have penthouses, rooftop gardens, and so many nice, wonderful things up here. But we are pulling out all the foundations right now. At a very tremendous and rapid pace, we are pulling out the foundations, which are this plant life, animal life, its varieties, and the microbial life and its richness and everything. We are consistently working against being here in the artificial living and modern living. What we're trying to do is this, a very simple picture can explain that. Somebody cutting the tree, sitting on the other side of the branch, which is going to fall when he becomes successful. So that is what modern living is heading to, that when we become the speed at which we are going, when we are about to feel like more and more success in the artificial living, that means it's going to be a disaster. It is going to be a big fall for not just for the humankind, but it is going to be for the every other life, because human form is not just humans, it is the complete amalgamation, like complex being representing every other life on this planet, including all the evolutions that has happened, the microbes or algae, fungi, or the plants and the animals, and everybody is there in this form. By pulling out the fundamental blocks that built us, we can exist peacefully, joyfully, happily. That's not going to happen. So let's take this awareness to as many people as possible, that there is a tremendous need, very urgent need for us to consciously take at least few steps towards natural living, where we are right now with the artificial means and ways of living. At least whatever little steps, baby steps that we can take, we must definitely take, at least this much we must do, that we at least take this awareness to as many people as possible, so that at least they can think about it at least first place. Because a lot of people are still I'm not talking about the people who are, in the poor condition and then in the middle class, so aspiring for a better livelihood and things like that. But what I see is that people who are little established or well established, they are still aspiring for more and more and more of artificial livings, artificial ways of doing things. And that is what is causing tremendous damage to this planet. And I want the message to go across to these people who can take at least some steps towards, the importance of natural living, coming closer to natural living, so that we don't take it to the further and further heights of artificial living, which has already taken a tremendous toll on this planet.